Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Kajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Kajananaha Vakratundaha Sutpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Sativarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashanteye Yasyadviradavaktradhyaha Parishadhyaha Parastatam Vignam Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamastraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Aklishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedhyaya Gurave Buddhisakshine Krishnadvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvabhutahite Ratam Vedabcha Bhaskaram Vande Samadhi Nilayam Munim Sahasra Murte Purushottamasya Sahasra Netranana Padabaho Sahasra Namnam Stavanam Prachastham Niruchyate Janma Jaradi Shantyai. With Bhagavan's grace, let us continue where we left off in our last session. We finished Slokam number 4. Sarva Sarva Sivasthanur Bhutadir Nidhiravyayah Sambhavo Bhavano Bhatta Prabhava Prabhuriswaraha. We came up to that point. Now let us take Slokam number 5. Swayambhu Shambhuraditya Pushkaraksho Mahasvanah Anadinidhano Dhata Vidhata Dhaturuttamaha. Swayambhu Shambhu Aditya Pushkaraksha Mahasvanah Anadinidhanaha Dhata Vidhata Dhatuhu Uttamaha. Swayambhu means immediately we think something that has come by itself. That is very true. That is where is the creation come from? What creates from? What is the material used? What is the process used? It is all everything from itself only. So that is Swayambhu. Okay, from itself. It itself decides to manifest itself. And the whole thing, it has projected itself into this myriad creations that we see and we marvel and revel at. So Swayambhu. Also, say not only the creation, the manifestations, but also the thing that shines by itself, that is ever effulgent. Where does the effulgence comes from? It comes from only its own self. That's the one that is manifesting itself. It is also shining by itself. And Swayambhu also means that is something that is above everything else. Now, when I say above, I don't mean physically, something above our head kind of a thing. No, something that is superior. That is really speaking, that is subtler than the subtlest. And something that is extremely subtle is more superior, isn't it? It's more powerful. So that is Swayambhu. Now, the question comes, if you take a creation, something that is manifested, and this creative energy, the creative Shakti, that entity is Savita Devata. We say in Gayatri Mantram, that is the one that is creating continuously, residing within us. And if you really analyze your own life, there are so many things that you create, isn't it? So many things, unstoppable, keep on going. That is the creative energy coming from. Now, for everything that is created, so to speak, created, what is the basis of creation? It's called Adharam. And what is it that depends on the basis? What is it that is being supported by the support? That is called Adheyam. So both the support and the supported, the Adharam and Adeyam, both are Swayambhu. Swayambhu. The created as well as the creator, both are Swayambhu. And another aspect that Shankara Bhagavad Pada revels in, enjoys, let's also enjoy along with that. Swayambhu also means Swatandra. Swatandra means he is the master of himself. There is no one above him. That's Swayambhu. So, different aspects of this Bhagavan that we can enjoy with this word Swayambhu. One who creates everything from itself. He is the one who is shining by himself. He is the one who is subtler than the subtlest. He is the supported as well as the supporter. He is the creator as well as the created. And is also his own master. Swayambhu. Bhattar says, now, when Bhagavan manifests himself, what we call as an avataram, in his full effulgence, where everything is Bhagavan's avataram only, you, me, and everything that is created is Bhagavan appearing in one form. But when Avatara Purushan comes, and that is an extraordinary manifestation, extraordinary. And it's an amazing, wonderstruck and wonderful Ascharya. It's beyond description, because the glory of Bhagavan, the embodiment of selfless love that manifests itself, is something that is supreme. So, Bhagavan's Janma Avataram does not take place like all other creations. Please understand this. In one of our last discussions, someone asked a question about Krishna's birth. It is not the same way that we are born. Bhagavan's Avatara Purushan is born, it is called Pravesam. Bhagavan is not Prasavam but Pravesam. And so, why does Avataram come? As Bhagavan himself has said, as Swami himself has said, what is the food that Bhagavan eats, for example, if you look at it that way? He says, bliss is my food, bliss. And Bhagavan gives us happiness, and when we are happy, Bhagavan is extremely happy. So, if I am happy, I am making Swami happy. Please remember that. If I am miserable, if I am sad, then Bhagavan is not happy. And he says, I have given you so much. Can you be happy? That's all that he's asking us from us. So, Bhagavan's food is actually bliss. Now, with the Swatandra, with his own master, and he manifests himself with his own desire, the primal desire. That is why he appears. So that is Swayambhu, what Bhattar says. So, next one is Shambhu. Shambhu, Shambhu. Sam means bliss. Sam means Sukham. And where is Sukham? What is the difference between Sukham and bliss? There is no difference at all. Sukham does not be in our common parlance. We take it to mean physical comfort. No. Sukham is mental comfort, peace of mind, as we say. That is Sukham. And that Sukham can come only when desire is absent. When a desire is fulfilled, we may feel happy temporarily, but we don't get Sukham because a fulfillment of desire is immediately followed by another desire. Fulfillment of desire is followed by fear, followed by greed, so many other things that happen. Whereas when you give up a desire, just one desire you give up, that is enough. Or you just reduce your desire and see what happens. There is a certain sense of less agitation in the mind, more peace in the mind. That is the direction of Sukham. Sukham means absence of desire. Where there is absence of desire, there is absolute bliss. That is Shambhu. One, Bhagavan gives us this beautiful phenomenal experience, of blissful experience. So he's the one, Shambhu. Bhattar says, when an Avatara Purushan comes, Rama, Krishna, even when we think of them even today, or Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, who has just come and gone, the form in which they come is the word that Sanskritam describes, that one word describes is Saulabhyam. When Bhagavan appears in as a master with his infinite power, you would naturally feel diffident. You cannot approach him. He's so powerful. He's so effulgent. I mean, he's so phenomenally out of this world. So there is a sense of reverence, a certain sense of respect, and some people, actually may even have fear. But fear is something that is generally absent in Bhagavan's presence. Okay, even the most cruel person will not be afraid because Bhagavan's presence removes fear. But it creates so much reverence, and you kind of keep your distance. Oh my God, this is something that's approachable. But Bhagavan makes himself approachable. Saulabhyam. And the actual physical beauty of an avataram is indescribable. It is so beautiful because it is pure itself, purity itself, love itself, prema itself. And what is the most beautiful thing in the whole world, in the whole creation, is prema only, is love only. Anybody, any action that is loving, you will find that it is so beautiful. Not the physical beauty. That comes and goes along with time, that beauty goes away, and some people are physically beautiful, and that gives them ego and a swollen head and all that. It actually drives you away. It's not attractive. But what is attractive, the most beautiful Saundaryam, is really prema. And a loving speech, a loving word, a loving action automatically gives beauty to the whole person, the whole body. And that beauty that Avatara Purushan dawns because of purity, and that prema dawns in that form, whichever form the Avatara Purushan comes, whether it is Narasimha Avataram, doesn't matter. Whatever form the Avatara Purushan comes, you find that it is extremely beautiful and also Saulabhyam. These various characteristics, gunas, that Avatara Purushan manifests when the Avataram comes, that and thereby giving happiness, giving bliss, giving Slokam to the bhaktas, to the devotees. Even today, when we hear Krishna stories or read or hear Bhagavatam, we feel so happy, and that the giver of that happiness is Shambhu, Swayambhu, Shambhu, Aditya. Aditya means immediately we think of the sun. And the sun is, what is the form of the sun? When you think of the sun, immediately our mind pictures something that is golden, isn't it? Golden color. Hiranya Rupam it is called. That is Bhagavan. That is Aditya. He is appearing in the form of Suryan, form of the sun. Bhagavad Gita says, among all the Adityas, I am the Aditya, is what it says. And the various Adityas, the 12 Adityas are there, which you call them as 12 months, okay? One of them is called Vishnu. Vishnu means, as we said, all pervasive, one is the indweller in everything. And that is me, is what Bhagavad Gita says. Now, Aditya is actually the Pati is a Sanskrit word I want to introduce here. Pati means not just husband, but Pati means protector, okay? Caregiver, well-wisher. And one, not only the protector, one who has the wherewithal and the ability to protect also, right? Not everybody can give us protection. Only Bhagavan has that ability. So Atiti is another name for the Bhuma Devi, for Mother Earth, which is not only limited to the globe that we call as Earth, but it denotes the whole universe. Please understand, Bhudevi denotes the whole universe. The physically manifested entities are all Bhudevis. Now, who is the pati for this Bhudevi? Who is the pati for Atiti? That is Aditya. When you look at the sun on a physical basis, we can relate that if you put different pots containing water or a lake or whatever it is, or even the sea, doesn't matter, the same one sun reflects as many, isn't it? The same way, Bhagavan is Ekam Sat, only one, but he shines in so many patrams. Patram means the embodiments, the containers that each one of us are. The same entity, that one entity, Prema, itself, which is present, the same one entity is present without change, without increase or decrease, in complete form, in so many containers, infinite containers, you, me, and everything else that you think of, everybody that you come across is only this Prema only, this one entity only. But it shines in so many different containers, just like the sun, one sun shines in so many containers containing water. This is Hiranya Rupam, we saw about it. And we call him Aditya. To Pramanam is another Sanskrit word. Pramanam means something that you experience, you sometimes understand, and then go beyond understanding to experience also. There are different types of Pramanams. And when you look at the sun, you get a certain example of something that is supreme, that is present, right? That is undeniably, that is a proof. That is, yes, something is beyond me, something that is present very much, that is taking care of me. That entity, that invisible entity, that one thing that is present, that shows itself in the form of the sun, thereby it's giving you the proof of its existence. That is Aditya. And when we talk of all the different avatarams, we always say Surya Koti, for example, Surya Prakasam, so many, it's effulgent like 1,000 suns, effulgent like million suns, like that we describe. So the Aditya, the sun that we can see physically and we can experience physically, we use it as also as something to indicate the presence of something that is indescribable by words. That is Aditya. So Swayambhuhu, Shambhuhu, Aditya. Next is Pushkarakshaha. Pushkar means lotus. So Akshaha is eyes. One who is lotus-eyed, one whose eyes look like the lotus. That is the way we normally take it. And both Bhattar and Sankara describe it the same way. As Tamil, we call it Tamare Kannan, and eyes like lotus, we say in English, Pushkarakshaha. But what does it really mean? Does his eye look like a lotus flower? We have to think, we have to experience Bhagavan personally. What this means is that the reason we compare Bhagavan to lotus feet, lotus hands, lotus face, the Padmam is another word that we use so many times in our scriptures. What it really means is that lotus eye means Bhagavan is looking at everything, but he is untouched by all that. And the same way, a lotus flower that comes out of mud and water, and it is so beautiful, but it is not touched by either the mud or the water from which it comes, out of which it has come. And it also exists in that. Bhagavan is witnessing, when we say witness, Sakshi, we saw that earlier, Bhagavan is seeing all the things we do. Not only we do, all the things we talk, all the things we think, also Bhagavan is seeing. But he is untouched by it, just the way a lotus flower is untouched by mud and the water out of which it comes. That is the meaning. That's the reason we use the word the lotus or Padam and Pushkaram and things that denote the lotus when we describe Bhagavan, whether it is Bhagavan's face, Bhagavan's hand, Bhagavan's eyes, Bhagavan's feet, whatever it is, there is a description associated with lotus because of that. Pushkarakshaha, Swayambhuhu, Sambhuhu, Adityaha Pushkarakshaha, Mahasvanaha. We all know Vedam constitutes the basis of the sound that is created everything, that is present in every place at every time, all through wherever you go, including the depth of the space. Okay, this Sabdam, we call it Pranava Mantram, that is present. So where did the Pranava Mantram come from? How did the Vedangal, how did they originate? What is the point of origin? That is the breath of Bhagavan. That is the breath. The breath of Bhagavan is the sound of Om. That is Vedangal. That is what Mahasvanaha means. It also means Mahasvanaha, one who has got the most exalted and supreme and sacred names. The names of Bhagavan are very sacred. The way that our parents have given us names, our elders have given us names, all our names all relate to Bhagavan's names. Whether it is Narayana, Krishna, Rama, whatever name that we carry, and it's all Bhagavan's name, or from the thing we take. But from the Sahasranamam, we take names. Those are all supreme sacred names. So the names that denote the aspects of Bhagavan, they're all supreme and sacred. But whereas, if you take a name like grass or a table or light or something like that, that also denotes that Bhagavan is present in that Sabdam also, but they are not as sacred or as supreme, as powerful as Bhagavan's names. That is the names that have been given to us by the Rishis. Remember? That is the way Bhishma, in the introduction, we saw that. So Mahasvanaha means one whose names are all exalted and sacred and supreme. And the mother of Vedas is Gayatri Mantram. And the Gayatri Mantram begins with the Pranava Mantram, Om. And the Gayatri Mantram is what does it Gayatri Mantram talk about? Who is it addressing? What is the essence of it? Right? It is a prayer. It's a prayer that is given on an equal footing basis. It is not a prayer of sublimation. It's not a prayer of an inferior addressing a superior or a servant addressing a master. And it is not a prayer that is asking for something, as beseeching something. No, it's a prayer that is given on equal footing basis with Bhagavan. Because the same Bhagavan, same entity, same Swami is present in everything. So where is the question of superiority and inferiority? So this prayer is addressed to an entity. The essence of Gayatri Mantram is Mahasvanaha. Okay, that is also another meaning of it. Supreme, exalted names, the essence of Gayatri Mantram, and the breath that has manifested itself as Pranava Mantram and as Vedangal. That is Mahasvanaha. Anatu Dvayambhuhu, Sambhuhu, Adityaha, Pushkarakshaha, Mahasvanaha. Anadi Nidhanaha. Anadi Nidhanaha. Without beginning, without end. Where does prema come from? How is it going to end? Does it have a beginning or does it have an end? No. It just expands. That's all. Its nature is only to expand because it fills everything. It is in fact full of everything. And that is Anadi Nidhanaha. And the one way we can relate to it physically, other than experiencing it in the form of prema, is when you go to a temple and you pray to Balaji there, or you hear Ramayana story, you get involved with Rama, or you hear Krishna story, how do you picture Bhagavan in your mind? Is always eternally youthful, isn't it? Does not age. Does not age at all, physically speaking, right? And the changeless entity, right? Without beginning, without end, always the same and always ever fresh. There is nothing old about Bhagavan, and there is always new only, right? That is Anadi Nidanaha, without beginning, without end. Always it is what it is. No change. Swayambhuhu Sambhuhu Adityaha Pushkarakshaha Mahasvanaha Anadi Nidhanaha Dhata is the one that supports everything. If you just pull back and on an intellectual basis, forget experience for a second, look at an intellectual basis, how amazing it is. Just look at the universe. The earth is hurtling around the sun at phenomenal speed, and it's also rotating around itself at phenomenal speed. And the sun and the planets are all hurtling in the space, and the stars, everything, and the whole universe is expanding. And you look at, and all this is taking place with phenomenal, unbelievable order, right? It is not chaotic. It's an amazing thing. And what is it that is supporting this? Just think of it, right? On the basis of earth itself, on the top of the earth's surface, the earth itself supports us, isn't it? Right? Where the ground supports us. We all know that. We take it for granted. So what is that element, that entity that is present that is supporting us? I'll give you a physical example, but the support is much more than just physical support. Support is mental support, it is spiritual support, it is emotional support, and ultimately to give you an indication of what it is, we call it hope. Hope without that, just imagine, if we all live on the basis of hope. If we lose our hope, what happens next minute? It becomes a hopeless life. We don't want to live anymore, right? So that hope is the one that is carrying us through. Now, that hope is based upon faith. We call it hope, but the faith is what is actually providing the support. And faith is the most important thing in our whole life. Nothing else. Not money, not health, but faith. Faith that Bhagavan is taking care. When I get the faith 100%, then my surrender to Bhagavan becomes 100%. Then my job is done. So faith is a basic support. And Dhata is the one who gives us that faith. By giving us that faith, by blessing us with that faith, and he is actually providing the support that is inherent in faith, in any faith. Faith does not mean religion. Faith means, as I mentioned to you, it is just not mental or spiritual. It is the one that provides support to hope itself, right? And that essence of that is Bhagavan, that is Dhata, that is the support we are talking of. And Bhattar mentions this in a more limited form than what I just shared with you. When we talk of Creator, we talk of Brahma. He is the one that is doing, we assign the job of creation delegated to, we call that entity as Brahma. And but where did the Brahma come from? Brahma also came out of a womb, right? That womb is a support for Brahma. That is Dhata. Vidhata. So Swayambhuhu Sambhuhu Adityaha Pushkarakshaha Mahasvanaha Anadi Nidanaha Dhata. Next is Vidhata. Now, our whole world, if you look at it, is an unending chain of actions. So many actions with one after another that we keep on doing. We're not able to get out of it. But each action has got a result. So Bhagavan is the one, Vidhata is the one that gives not only all these myriad actions continuously, He is blessing us, He is granting us, He is also granting us the results of those. That is Vidhata. And on the Visishtatvaidik explanation of Bhattar, Parasara Bhattar, and he says it, Ata is the one, the womb from which the supporter of Brahma. Now, the Vidhata is the one, even in any womb, like it does, the birth of any entity does not take place instantly, right? For a human being, we know it takes 10 months, right? And the womb, the fetus has to grow and all that. This process of ripening, or even if you take a fruit, it takes time to ripen. Everything has got its time element, a certain amount of time required for it to ripe and then manifest itself. That ripening process, not only providing the womb, not only providing the basis of the growth, but also the ripening process that is involved before the thing manifests itself. That is Vidhata, is what Bhattar says. In simply speaking, you can take it as Vidhata is the one who gives me the actions as well as the results of the actions. Both are Vidhatas. Dhatuhu Uttamaha, Swayambhuhu Shambhuhu Adityaha Pushkarakshaha Mahasvanaha Anadi Nidhanaha Dhata Vidhata Dhatu Uttamaha. Dhatu Uttamaha is broken into two words. Dhatuhu Uttamaha. So Uttamaha means something that is the best in everything. What does Dhatu mean? See, we picture and imagine things, right? And this imagination, and then we create something. This is what happens in our mind, in all the things that we think of. So the so many, prapanjam we call it, so many types of myriad things that we have imagined and we have created in this world. So each one of them is a dhatu. Dhatu means something that is a mental creation, that it gives you a form for it in your mind. And Uttamaha is the supreme, the most exalted, the best among all that. And for example, the earth itself is a dhatu, right? We got a form for the earth in our mind. And we have a form for Brahma. We have a form for anything that you think of. But the most exalted among all the things, all the forms that we conceive of, that the Uttamaha, the most exalted one, is Dhatu Uttamaha, that is Bhagavan. And if Brahma is the one who is the creator and creating all the things that we come across, we assign a name called Brahma to that creating aspect of Bhagavan, even though that entity is all within us, because we are creating everything in our world. And Dhatu Uttamaha is the thing that is supreme and superior and beyond that creative energy, that creating aspect. This Uttamaha is even beyond that. So how can you even picture Bhagavan? Where is he? We know creator, protector, and dissolver. We know Brahma, Vishnu, Sivan, and all we have read. But what is it, Parabrahman, that is beyond all this? That is Dhatu Uttamaha. And that entity is beyond our ability to conceive, not only beyond the senses, but beyond the mind also. And that is why Bhishma next says, Aprameyaha. First, let's finish this slokam. Swayambhuhu Shambhuhu Adityaha Pushkarakshaha Mahasvanaha Anadi Nidhanaha Dhata Vidhata Dhatu Uttamaha Swayambhu Shambhuraditya Pushkaraksho Mahasvanaha Anadi Nidhano Dhata Vidhata Dhatu Uttamaha. This Dhaturuttamaha Supreme is Aprameyaha. Aprameyo Padmanabho Mara Prabhu Vishwakarma Manasprashtha Tavishtas Taviro Dhruvaha. Aprameyaha, beyond the ability of the senses, beyond the ability of the mind to conceive. Mind can conceive only so much, but the conceiving aspect, the power that gives the mind to conceive, how can the mind conceive it? Impossible. It is beyond the mind. And senses, yes, the senses touch the objects for which they are related to. But what is the thing that gives the power and the energy to make it happen? What is the thing that makes it and gives the energy to perceive something? That is beyond the power of senses. Senses cannot do that. And mind cannot do that. It is something beyond that. Because Bhagavan is the one who's operating the mind. Bhagavan is the one who is seeing through and hearing through and touching through and tasting through and smelling through the senses that we have. So that is Aprameyaha. Even Brahma, when after he was created by Bhagavan, he himself could not conceive of this entity. We call it Sriman Narayana. It doesn't matter what name we use. That Bhagavan, that entity that is present, that love, prema, selfless love, of creation, when Brahma did not know what to do, right? Then he did tapas. Tapas means he concentrated, focused, and meditated, and on this entity, and then got his instructions. So it is even beyond the ability of Brahma to conceive. And next one is Aprameyaha Rishikesaha. Rishikesaha, it's a very beautiful word we use it so many times. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses, Krishna addresses Arjuna as Gudakesaha. Then Arjuna addresses him as Rishikesaha. So Rishikesaha means the master of all the senses. Who is the master of the senses? All the senses we hear, we see and speak and smell and all, not speak. We taste and smell and touch and all that. If I have to control my senses, then I must become master of my senses. So how can I control this? Something in my mind says, okay, control, don't look at it, don't hear it. This is that gossip you don't want to hear. It is not good for you. Move away from it. Don't hear bad things. See only good. Don't see bad things. Something which says that. So when my mind tells the senses, okay, don't see it, controls it. But what is controlling the mind? The buddhi. Buddhi within us, the vivekam, the discriminating power we have that says, don't do this, it is harmful to you. Don't see this, don't talk, don't touch that, don't touch a fire, it will hurt you. Things like that. That discriminating power tells the mind, which in turn controls the senses. But who's controlling the buddhi? Who's controlling the discriminating power? And that is Bhagavan. That is Rishi Kesaha. Rishi also means happiness, bliss. And so where is the bliss in this? Rishi Kesaha not only controls and the master of all the senses, he is the one through the process of controlling the senses also gives you happiness and bliss. Just imagine, the moment I control my senses, how happy, that moment you feel happy, right? When for example, simple thing, when we start eating and it is so tasty, so we want to overeat, and then we feel miserable. But suppose I'm full and I say, no, that is enough, I have had enough. Even though it is tasty, I'm going to control it, I'm going to stop. That moment, when you exercise that control, you really feel happy and peaceful, right? That is also Rishikesaha. You see, through the process, through the senses, as well as through the process of controlling the senses. That happiness giver is Rishikesaha. Kesam also means, one thing is, our hair is also called Kesam. And hair can be conceived of as different strands of hair. Like that, when you look at, for example, the moon or the sun, especially the rising sun in the morning, or because once the sun comes up, it's very difficult to see. Our eyes are not powerful enough to see the sun. But then sunset, you see, we feel happy, don't we? We feel, doesn't matter whatever accomplishments are or rejections are, rewards and difficulties and challenges and accomplishment, doesn't matter who we are, what we are. When we see a full moon, when we see a sunrise or a sunset, we feel so happy and peaceful. Where is that happiness and peaceful coming from? Who's giving that happiness? The one through the rays of the moon and the rays of the sun, who gives us so much happiness and bliss. That is Rishikesaha. When the sun is shining, we feel so happy. When it is cloudy and it is overcast and you don't see the sun for a couple of days or even for a week, or northern part of the world, you don't get to see the sun for months together, you feel miserable, right? We all need the sun to make us feel healthy and happy. That happiness, the giver of that happiness through the rays of the sun and the moon, that is Rishikesaha. One who controls the senses, one who masters the senses, one who gives happiness through our experience of the senses, right? And one who also gives us happiness through the present in the rays of the moon and the sun. That is Rishikesaha. He is also in that process. When you look at it, is just not only happiness. Just as an example I'm giving you, you can all relate to this very personally. When you look at a sunset, for example, is it happiness only that you feel? You also feel a certain energy, certain enthusiasm, right? And much more than happiness. And a certain sense of fulfillment, a certain sense of prosperity, a fulfillment, a prosperity that happens, the Aishwaryam that takes place when you enjoy the moonlight, or when you enjoy the sunset or the sunrise, for example. As one example I gave. Same way you can do that by controlling the senses. The same thing is present. More than the happiness, there is a certain fulfillment, a certain sense of peace that comes in there, right? And along with that, the moment I control what I eat, the moment I control what I see or what I speak, the moment I control my tongue and not say something that is hurting someone, if I'm exercising that control over my senses, I not only feel happy, I also feel not only prosperous and fulfilled, but also enthusiastic, a certain enthusiasm of life that comes in. That aspect, the giver of all that, the one who's present in that, the manifesting himself in that fashion, that aspect of Bhagavan is Rishikesaha. Aprameyaha Rishikesaha Swayambhu Sambhuraditya Pushkaraksho Mahasvanaha Anadinidhano Dhata Vidhata Dhaturuttamaha Aprameyo Rishikesaha. With that, we will stop today and continue with Bhagavan's grace in our next session. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.